Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the VTA's series of webinars on applied research and innovation in TAFEs. Today's topic, Building Applied, the Approach in Canada and the Basque Country, with Justine Roff and Janelle Cretney. My name is Stephen Deere. I will be moderating this webinar today. I'd just like to remind everybody that this session is being recorded. If you have any questions, please use the chat pod down the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And I think Justine will let you know whether she wants questions during the session or whether they're going to wait till the end of the session to answer those questions. For your best quality, you need to be using Google Chrome or Safari if you're on a Mac. And without further ado, I will now hand you over to Justine and Janelle.
Okay, hi everyone, this is Justine speaking. Welcome to our webinar. I'll be speaking about lessons that I learnt in Canada and applied research. And Janelle will be...
Hi, I'm Janelle Cretney, and I'll be talking to you about my experiences when I went to San Sebastian earlier in the year to attend a conference on anticipating the future.
So we'll, if you need to ask, if you've got a burning issue or a burning question, please pop it in the chat box. But we have allowed time at the end to be able to respond in full to any questions that you might have. In addition, we've realised that a web link out to a video unfortunately won't work on this platform, but it will be made available to you at a later date. So we'll kick it off. Welcome everybody. So I'll be going first about Canada, and once again thank you for coming to listen to what we learnt on our individual journeys this year. So I was very fortunate to go over to Canada, to Vancouver, to attend an applied research in leaders course with Denise Amiot. So Denise is the equivalent of the TDA in Canada. So she's the CEO of the Colleges and Institutes Canada, and I attended their formal leadership institute for emerging leaders in applied research and innovation. So I was very fortunate. I contacted Denise and said, oh, could I come over? And she said, yes, come to this event. So I quickly mobilised finances, air tickets, colleges to visit and so forth, and headed off. So I spent a week doing the course with Canadian peers, and then spent sort of a week and a bit visiting a number of colleges and universities who all operate in the applied research space. And as you'll probably be aware, Canada is quite advanced in this space with a very healthy budget that colleges and universities are able to apply for, in terms of, for the express purpose of boosting innovation capacity in Canada. So lesson one. Applied research operates in a very unique space. Applied research is the application of knowledge rather than the advancement of knowledge, as you will see in your more traditional academic research completed at a university. So there's a distinct difference in the research that's carried out in an applied research manner. The focus in Canada in particular is on the practical application of knowledge, which certainly plays to the strengths of their vet sector and the Australian vet sector. However, having said that, even one of the CEOs at British Columbia Institute of Technology, who looks after applied research at a very large and prestigious organisation, says that almost no one understands what applied research is or the value to the organisation. So this is after 15 years of engaging in this space and building up capacity. So that was one of the first lessons that I learned, is to be prepared to explain and advocate for applied research on an ongoing basis. And depending on your cohort, as to tailor your message as to who you're speaking to around applied research and innovation. So lesson two was what factors make colleges good partners in bridging the innovation gap. And, you know, why does Canada fund applied research so greatly? So the government recognises the ability of the sector to build innovation literacy, to empower their citizens to participate in the knowledge economy, and to engage in knowledge mobilisation strategies that increase productivity across the country. However, the most important lesson, and certainly the one that stood out for me at the course, was that the Canadian government recognises that the college sector has the capacity to produce innovative graduates at a much faster rate than a university. So when you think about our vet courses, it's 12 months, 18 months, 2 years before relatively short period of time where a graduate is equipped to enter the workforce, whereas in a university setting, it's 3 years plus. So the Canadian government, that was one of their key underpinning principles behind funding innovation in Canada, and certainly applied research. So what makes colleges good partners in bridging the innovation gap? Well, colleges like the Australian TAFEs and private providers scattered across the country are far more prolific than our university counterparts. The TAFEs, or the colleges, have a different research focus. We have far more industry experience and contact with industries. Applied research produces a tangible end product. We're much closer to the communities and our ability in the IP. So in terms of intellectual property in Canada, it is signed over to the industry partner. The college typically does not hold the IP. It's there. The engagement in applied research is all about student learning and not managing IP moving forward. So lesson 3, the benefits of engaging in applied research and innovation. And you'll see there's a shopping bag or a student bag from British Columbia Institute of Technology, and I think it really sums up what we're doing or what they're about in the applied research space. It's education for a complex world. So there's numerous stakeholders, and you'll see I've listed some of the stakeholders there who are engaging or are involved in applied research. So what's in it for us, and what's the value proposition for us and for those different stakeholders? Well, it varies depending on the stakeholder. So just given the time frame, I'll just touch on the students' benefits, because that's the primary focus in Canada of why they engage in applied research. So the student benefits include real-world practical problem-solving opportunities and a superior learning experience. The graduates have marketable workplace skills in fields such as project management, problem-solving, intellectual curiosity, and reporting. In a nutshell, they have increased innovation literacy, or they hold innovation literacy knowledge and skills. It provides a competitive edge in the job market if they've worked on a real-world problem with an industry partner. They have experience in capacity to innovate in the workplace. They've experienced deeper learning via experiential learning. It increases their confidence. Improved employment outcomes, so their capacity and where they're positioned in the job market is far superior. And they have a different learning experience in advanced or better learning facilities. So that's in a nutshell, I suppose, the student benefits for engaging in applied research and innovation. And certainly the other stakeholders all have their particular benefits as well, which we just don't have time, sorry, to go through today. So lesson 4, where does applied research and innovation fit in a college? So it depends upon the college size and the context, their areas of expertise, their priorities of the local community and the local industry, the board of directors, the executive staff, and the student needs, so much like an Australian TAFE situation. The colleges all have different reasons or motivation for engaging in applied research depending on their context, and their focus might be around student learning, economic development of their community, economic gain for the college, and interestingly, supporting academic freedom for the faculty, which is the teaching staff. So for example, North Island College, which is on the Vancouver Island, is ideally situated to focus activity on the health of the oceans within its immediate location. The Justice Institute of British Columbia focuses all their activity on the support of emergency first responders, specifically in paramedicine, resilience and the mental health of first responders. And Kwantlen Polytechnic University, which is pictured here for you, focuses on sustainable agriculture. So the photo you see here is an example of a student applied research and innovation project. Here the student, you'll see, if you look closely, you'll see some pots with some plants growing in there, and it's at the front of the campus. It clearly highlights the campuses and the college's engagement in research. So this particular student is working for a gravel business, and they're testing the nutritional value of a byproduct from that gravel business. And you'll see that they're halfway through their project there. So in terms of the organisational structure, the Applied Research and Innovation Offices is included in the training and education portfolio of an institute, and it sits separately from faculty, or how we would call delivery departments. So usually, say, the director of the Applied Research Office would report to the Executive Director for Training and Education. In terms of how they report the outcomes, it's reported as student learning in the operational performance, has a separate budget line and has metrics that are reported to the board. So this is Kim Dotto from British Columbia Institute of Technology. We very kindly had a tour of some of their applied research and innovation labs, and this is the KARI lab. According to Kim, an applied research leader has 20 different hats to wear. So I'm not going to read out the 20 different hats. I don't even think he labelled all 20, but I can sum up the different roles of an applied research leader in the following way. So an applied research leader needs to determine college strengths and capabilities in the space, needs to create operational models, policies and procedures, needs to raise awareness of college applied research capability and be able to celebrate and publicise success stories, contribute to student learning, support the college to solve problems, contribute to the ongoing sustainability of the college, increase the economic development in the community, manage all stakeholder expectations, and determine and report on key performance indicators. So quite a big role, and certainly some similarities between what I learnt in Canada and the work completed not long ago by Betty and Simon on applied research in the Australian context and the capabilities required. So lesson 6 is, that's all lovely, but what type of activities do the students undertake, and what do they do? So essentially they're broken into 2 streams. It's either curricular, so it's included in the course of study, or it's extracurricular. So if it's a curricular project, it's typically could be a capstone project that is included in the student's course of study. It could be an applied research challenge that's included or embedded into the course of study. So the business entrepreneurship course at Kwantlen Polytechnic University, the students work in teams to solve an industry problem throughout the duration of their course of study. Alternatively, the curricular engagement could be parts of a larger applied research project that's sectioned off, and students can gain credit or advanced standing for a subject or a unit of study. In terms of extracurricular student activities, the students could be employed as a research shadow, so you might have an applied research staff member who's working on some research with an industry partner, and the student shadows them. Students are often also recruited into paid internships, either at the college or at the industry. They could be employed as research assistants. There's also institute challenge-based problems, competitions and grant opportunities. If students have some great ideas, there's typically an annual fund or grant that they could apply for to further their idea. They might volunteer to play a role in a larger applied research office. And also George Brown College has micro-badging and online learning modules in applied research and entrepreneurship competencies. So the students are able to download those badges and put them onto their CV and so forth. So the two, and that's just just to start off with some of the activities that the students are undertaking in Canada. So the two pictures here, you'll see the photo on the left, which has a GoPro and a red piece above it. That's actually a mouthpiece for a GoPro. The students in a team worked on solving an industry problem where the GoPro wasn't able to capture the true picture when it was mounted on a helmet or on your forehead, I suppose, strapped on there. So the students came up with a mouthpiece that mounted to the GoPro that enabled a far superior picture and photo. So that's now purchased. The students' work is led to this item being able to be purchased. Then you can see Ben on the right. I know that the picture isn't the great, but Ben Costin worked by himself and created a new control bar for the global kiteboarding industry. So you'll see down the bottom there's sort of a U shape in orange and black, and that's a new piece that is now also available to purchase across the world. So two certainly standout examples from Camosun College there. And I'll pass on to Janelle.
Thanks, Justine. Hi, my name is Janelle Cretney, and I was very fortunate earlier this year to be able to travel to San Sebastian to participate in the international conference Anticipating the Future. It was a real experience for me. I'd never been to Spain, certainly never attended an international conference, and I was certainly inspired and learned a real lot while I was there. The conference touched on a whole range of issues, and applied research was one of those, but it also covered, I've got to find the thing, it also really opened my eyes to the future of work and the way of training people for the new world of work and the new work reality. The short video clip here is a great summary of the lessons that I learned whilst on the conference, but unfortunately I can't play it to you now, but if you get the chance, do have a look at it, because I think it's a really great summary of what was covered at the conference. It talks about the pace of the change being unprecedented, the impact of globalisation, automation, digitalisation, and the impact of that on the world of work. But I think it also presents a really optimistic view about how we as educators can get involved and help prepare people for this new world of work, and help build these new skills that are necessary for success in the future. It also, I think, encourages us to look at a holistic solution, to be involved in part of the change in education to help prepare us for this new world of work. So yeah, I encourage you to have a look at that if you get a chance. I'm just going to talk quickly now about the dot points on the screen. I guess the new work reality is something that we're hearing a lot about at the moment. The Foundation of Young Australia's research, the information that was presented at the conference, all alluding to this new world of work where young people will need to be prepared to hold numerous jobs, multiple jobs, maybe a number of casual positions in order to build a full-time portfolio of work. The Foundation of Young Australians predicts that young people will hold 17 jobs and potentially in 5 different careers in their lifespan. But there's also a lot of evidence suggesting that young people are much more highly educated. 60% of 25-year-olds now have post-school qualifications. So, education is a space that we can really start to make some change. People are spending more time in education. We need to be addressing the new skills and helping people prepare for the new world of work. And there's no doubt that that's vastly different to what we're used to. One of the interesting facts that came up in the conference was that, with all the new technology and globalisation, there's no doubt that computers and digitalisation will take some of the jobs that we're familiar with out of the workforce. and there was a prediction of about 5 million jobs being lost by 2020. But what I think is really important is that whilst the loss of those jobs, those repetitive jobs or those jobs that can be automated, it frees up capacity for us to invest in new jobs and in new ways of working. And a great example was given at the conference where, some cancer surgery can now be conducted by robots, which then allows the surgeon to spend a whole lot of time working with the patient on, post-operative care, mental health issues, and a whole different skill sets required by that surgeon to look after the well-being of the patient. So I think it's really with all these new with the new focus, or with the new jobs. The new jobs of the future involve a whole different set of skills, and we're familiar with enterprise skills, problem solving, collaboration, communication, innovation. We know these skills are things we need to be teaching our students. But what was interesting for me was that the humanistic skills, things like respect and intuition, imagination and ethics, are also becoming so much more important in the future of work. So I think in preparing a future fit workforce, we really need to have a look at these skills and work out new ways of embedding them in our education programs. And applied research provides a perfect opportunity for us to do this. We see examples of applied research working really well locally. Just yesterday, I had the fortunate opportunity to be able to go around and have a look at some of the applied research projects in action that are actually happening in our classrooms with students at the moment. And I was introduced to two young guys who who are doing a diploma of interior design, and what they've been working with industry to come up with a way to demonstrate their design concepts in a three-dimensional way. And so they were able to walk me through, using virtual reality, walk me through their designs and show me how some of the aspects of their design would meet a customer's need. And it was really exciting to see young people actually doing that right now in the classroom. So I think that there's lots of opportunities for us to develop these new skills in the vet system. We are, as Justine said, we're ideally positioned because we do have a close connection with industry. We are closely connected to community, and we do focus on building skills and building employable graduates. I think the challenge for us is making sure that we can keep pace with the change, that we are open to new possibilities, and that we can continue to look forward and anticipate the future. And it is a challenge. We know that in talking to our industry recently, particularly in the cookery area, we know that our employers are still struggling to find apprentices with required employability skills. And we know that the technical skills are still necessary, but employers are wanting more. And we know that it's no longer enough to know something, because employers are looking for the ability to apply that knowledge and to adapt to new information all the time and generate new solutions. So again, applied research is a way we can start to use our classrooms and our connections with industry to encourage that new direction. So I think there is a lot we can do, but it's I guess at Wodonga TAFE we're just starting on that journey. But I look forward to moving forward and looking at what's possible. But I think I'll pass back to Justine. You've got that one. Oh, sorry, I have got one more slide up there. which I guess is suggesting that, you know, the coyote is always after the roadrunner. He's always using the same, or he's trying so many different techniques to catch up with the roadrunner, but he never actually does. I think the message here for us in the vet system is that we need to keep trying new things, but you know, there's always going to be something else we need to do to catch the roadrunner. Right? So it's about adapting and changing and trying new things all the time. Thank you.
Right.
Justine, we seem to have lost some sound. Can you hear? Okay. All right, guys, we're just a little bit of a technical difficulty there. We should be back online any second.
Can everyone hear us again now? Yes,
All
thank
good, Justine.
you.
Okay,
Sorry about
thank
that.
you.
Not sure. Yes, challenges of technology. Okay, so onto the final slide. So what's next for Wodonga TAFE? So you can see here there's a picture of Camosun College's Technology Access Centre. So this is looks pretty interesting. It's actually pretty exciting, and I encourage you all to look up Canada's TACs, or Technology Access Centres. They've got a fabulous website, and they're all government funded. And the TACs actually align themselves with a college or a university, and they've got massive funding to enable and to action applied research and innovation at that college with the students. And it comes with staff budgets and things like that as well, but predominantly at the college level. So here's my inspiration. Wodonga TAFE is starting small but dreaming big. I've managed to convince some delivery department staff that it's a good idea to hop on the applied research and innovation train. And they're happy and so far motivated to engage with me. So these are the engineering teachers, those that teach the Diploma of Engineering Technology. STEM's an easier way to commence work in applied research and innovation because you do have a tangible product. Social innovations are somewhat a bit more challenging but still achievable. So next year, what are we going to do? So in collaboration with industry, past graduates and teaching staff here at Wodonga TAFE, I'm going to adopt a practical collaborative approach to problem solving that enhances student experiences and industry practices. So we'll work with the staff to develop a framework that underpins applied research that includes an intellectual property policy, a funding model, staff learning and development, because this is something that needs to happen, and looking at a research ethics board as well. But essentially what we're going to do with the engineering staff and the students is to look at, well, what types of problems are solvable and are realistic for industry to provide to students to solve for them. So at the moment, our engineering students in the diploma typically undertake a research type project for the duration of their course. Now, depending on the cohort, sometimes it works well and sometimes it doesn't work well. It's a teams-based approach, and we know how sometimes teams can go absolutely pear-shaped. But we feel that if we bring in industry into the process and industry into the conversation and have the students working on real-world problems, that we're going to have a greater success rate, and we'll have students who are actually working and getting to know industry, and as in essence, industry are almost able to screen potential employees prior to their graduation. So we've got lots of work to do, but I'm very excited, and as Janelle sort of alluded to, we've got pockets of this happening across the institute, as you would have as well. Another example is our community services diploma students. One of their subjects is a research subject, and often they will write policies and procedures for local service providers. What's missing, I suppose, is that we don't have a framework to wrap around it that enables us to celebrate and promote student engagement and student success. We don't use the applied research language. We don't talk about innovation literacy. So students, even though they realise they're gaining valuable employability skills, we don't tend to broach it in that manner. And without a framework to hang our hat on and to share student success stories and for them to progress to, you know, some pretty fabulous employment, it's just the missing piece of the puzzle here for us, and like it would probably be for many, many TAFEs. And just to be very clear, so our focus here is not on publishing papers. The universities have enough academics to fulfil that role. Our focus here is going to be on student learning and the student journey, and as well as the staff journey, as we move through. So next year is research and embed in the diploma, with ready to roll an applied research course out the following year. So that brings us to the end of all our talking non-stop. Are there any questions? Would you like to raise your hand or pop a question into the text box? Yes, Claire, did you raise your hand or lower your hand? I'm not sure. You might need to type a question in, Claire. I can't hear you. Are you talking?
Not sure.
Oh. I'm not sure, Claire. Are you able to type it in? I'm sorry, I can't, unless our moderator. Attendees are muted. Okay.
So can we unmute?
No, they're all muted. So Claire, sorry, you might have to type it in.
Does the ARI leader have a research education background?
In Canada, certainly they do, or they're budding researchers. They found that it's important to have had experience in educational research or scientific research. Certainly depends on the size of the college as well. If you think of British Columbia Institute of Technology, their applied researchers that are employed under a grant are all predominantly PhD qualified. However, in the smaller colleges, masters with research included in it is deemed to be okay. Does anybody else have a question? No? I don't think so. All right, doesn't sound like anyone's got a question. Oh, yes?
Linked to is the Diploma of Engineering applied project linked to a training package or unit of competence?
Yes, it will be. So the project that they currently do is linked to the course. I can't tell you exactly what unit or units or cluster of units that it's linked to, but it's about value adding that and mapping that out clearly as well for the students and staff. And that will happen next year, Claire. I'll be able to tell you then.
Thank you.
We hope so. We hope so. As I said, the staff are excited. It's a way for them to re-engage with industry as well. And also, by working through an applied research project with the students, they get to tick that vocational currency box, which is also very important as a vet teacher to be able to evidence engagement with industry and of context or of significance as well. So as we progress through, I'm sure Arnaldo will prompt me to share learning.
Is someone helping lead that diploma research?
So I'm working with the delivery staff. No, good. So I'll be working with the delivery staff. I have a Master's in Education with a research thesis included in that. But I've actually applied for one of the TDA of Vetra Innovation Scholarships. And should I be successful, the lovely Melinda will be joining me on this journey.
Do you know of ARI happening in other TAFE institutes?
Yes, so Holmes Glen have an institute or have a Centre for Innovation. Henry Poop heads that one up, and they've got a number of projects up and running. If you go to their website, you'll be able to see what they're up to. TAFE Queensland has Red Space, so if you Google Red Space, you'll be able to find out what they're doing in the applied research and innovation space up there. And there's pockets of it happening elsewhere as well across quite a number of TAFEs. But as a TAFE institution, I think we're not very good at singing from the rafters and telling everyone how great we are. And it's something we need to get better at doing, Rebecca.
Research student. Okay, TAFE.
Okay. Fantastic.
Thanks.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
Well, we might.
Oh.
Well, thanks, Janelle and Justine. It doesn't look like we're going to get any more questions. So I might turn off the recording if that's okay.
Yes, that's fine. And Claire, you can access the film by the Change Squared film. Just Google it. It's a YouTube clip. Goes for a couple of minutes. So yeah, just it's easy to access.
Yes, absolutely. You can have our notes from today. Do you mean the PowerPoint or all my waffle, Claire? Okay. I'll email it to you, Claire. With maple syrup. Well, that would be nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Stephen, for moderating.
Thanks very much, ladies. That was quite interesting.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lizzie.
Thanks,
Bonnie.